Tonight, Democrats have filed a new lawsuit backed by Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign that challenges new election rules recently passed by the state election board. The actions of the board's Republican majority have come under scrutiny ever since former President Donald Trump praised the new members, 3 of them, at a campaign rally in Atlanta. They recently passed a rule requiring a reasonable inquiry into election results before they can be certified. Now, Democrats at the national level and across the state are firing back, asking the Fulton County Superior Court to make it so that certification cannot be delayed. A member of the Harris-Walz campaign sent a statement about the lawsuit, saying in part, certifying an election is not a choice, it's the law. A few unelected extremists can't just decide not to count your vote.
So, with Republicans being so afraid of the elections being stolen, I find it kind of odd that the media is just playing, again, they're just wearing the kids' gloves with the Republican Party and the way that they are blatantly admitting that they're planning to steal this election. And they have even giving us the roadmap how. So, I have to applaud Kamala Harris and her team for essentially seeing this coming. Because what she did is, here we go. Democrats sue to block new GOP-backed Georgia election certification rules. Now, real quick, what they were trying to do is they were trying to give already admitted election denialists more power. And these people have not lost their jobs. They have not been asked to step down from, being election volunteers, poll workers. Had a brain fart there. But I find it kind of disgusting when you read the rules and regulations for these people and how they're blatantly ignoring it. Because every time that I go to the polls, you see right outside of any polling station that there's no campaigning outside of a poll station. However, these people are essentially campaigning for the candidate that they want to win. And that's just disgusting to me, because if I didn't have it happen to me personally, then I probably wouldn't even be making this video. But during the primary, I went to go vote, and the second that I said that I was getting a Democratic ballot, because they asked me if I wanted a Democratic, a Republican, or an independent ballot, I blatantly just said, give me a Democratic ballot. It was like 3 or 4 older people, and I'm talking, 50s to 70s, sorry, but they were definitely in that demographic. So when I say older, I mean just older than me. But there were also 1 or 2 what I would consider near geriatrics, especially considering that one of them was openly talking about Joe Biden's age. I kind of found that funny. So I go to sign, and this guy makes a really snide comment to me where he's just like, oh, well, your signature matches your signature. Odd. And I just kind of looked up. I'm like, well, yeah. And I wasn't thinking about it because I was just like, yeah, you know what? I signed a lot of paperwork, blah, blah, blah. Not even thinking about it. So I get to my little, voter booth, and it hit me why they would be saying that. So I just kind of perused the room, and then I'm just listening to the conversations, and they're talking openly about challenging voters who don't have signatures that match. And it's weird how they just kind of were like, yeah, it's odd that Democrats are the ones who don't have matching signatures. Weird. So, real quick, obviously, I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because this is a game that they're going to start playing. And I have been taking a look at all the purging of voter rolls, specifically in my state, too, because they played a little gerrymander game with my district, because my district used to be a red district. Now it's a purple district. They can't handle that. So they moved my polling station away from my metropolitan area, and now I have to travel to go there, and it's at a church. Go figure. So I started really thinking about all of this, and again, I live in a state that I really shouldn't have to worry about this stuff, but again, I want my vote to count. I'm not going to be one of these complacent people that is just like, I'm just one vote. I don't care. I am constitutionally protected to have my vote. This is why I get pissed off when people are like, yeah, felons shouldn't be allowed to vote. It's like, no, that's going against the language of the Constitution, which we always mince words when it comes to the Second Amendment. Why don't we look at the inalienable right of voting? We are guaranteed that. So anytime somebody tries to threaten my vote, I tend to get a little upset, especially when it's some red hat wearing jackoff that just gives me a glimpse and goes, oh, this guy's voting Republican or Democrat. Oh, see, I did the same thing to him, though. Like, I'm not going to pretend that I'm any better. And that's kind of part of why politics sucks today, is because they like, it's so weird how an entire generation just decided, I'm going to hate my kids. And I'm going to hate everything about their generation and tell them how much they suck. And then wonder why they don't like us. Weird. Very weird. But also, I just wanted to bring up how I have been noticing that there's a lot of anti-Trumpers this time. There's a lot of never-Trumpers. And it's not just the far left. It's not just Democrats. You have Republicans for Trump. You have evangelicals for Trump. You have independents for Trump. So I was thinking about just how much he lost by in the last election. There's no way. There's absolute, like, you can look at any poll, fine. But just thought math kind of goes, well, if he had just a sliver of the support from these demographics that he had in the last election, maybe, just maybe it could push him. But when we're talking about unilateral Republicans, like, just supporting the antithesis to what they are, like, Kamala Harris is the antithesis to everything Dick Cheney is. But Dick Cheney has gone on the record saying that he's not going to be voting for Trump. However, he did not endorse Kamala. He just Kamala. I am trying to get that pronunciation right. But yeah, man, it's absolutely ridiculous that I even have to make a video like this, because it should just go without saying that we should be able to trust our poll workers. I don't care who you vote for. I don't. It's none of my business. But the fact that you're trying to make my vote your business and then disenfranchise me because of it, no. That's a double guns to you. Seriously. And anybody that honestly thinks that way, I'm just going to say this for every other American that doesn't have the balls to say it to you. Fuck you. Fuck you and your anti-patriotic American ass. Because guess what? Part of being American is accepting the other people who live in this freaking country. It's not just for you, pal. And I know your type. I know exactly who's watching this, getting angry, getting ready to type in the comments section. Go ahead. Seriously, just prove exactly how much of a piece of shit you are. Because I'm fucking done with it. I'm done with anybody that is sitting there thinking, well, if we can't win, we got to think of ways to cheat, and then we got to accuse them of cheating. Awesome. Real good politics. So, what I wanted to do real quick is see exactly what Kamala is going to be doing with this lawsuit. All right. Democrats with the backing of Kamala Harris's presidential campaign on Monday sued to block controversy. All right, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but what I do want to do here is read this part. The lawsuit marks a significant escalation of the controversy that has been brewing for weeks now over the action of Republican members of the state election board, who recently won praise from former President Donald Trump for their moves. Trump lost Georgia just by over 10,000 votes in 2020, and that at the center of it was his attempt to overturn the election with claims of voter fraud. Democrats are seeking a court ruling that makes clear that election superintendents do not have the discretion to delay certification of election results or to refuse to certify election results altogether. The fact that they're doing this in contested states, the fact that they're trying to do this in swing states, they've already tried to do this in Wisconsin. I don't understand anybody that can sit there with their American flag in their truck and honest to God look at those stars and go, I'm the patriot. I'm the patriot. I'm trying to take away the rights of my fellow American. Therefore, I'm the patriot. Okay. Forgive me for not thinking that, trying to take away my rights as a voter is very patriotic. Well, here's another little fun thing that we had during the weekend. Check this out.
Okay, now this. Donald Trump gave a campaign speech in New Hampshire yesterday. And let's just say, in all seriousness, by the way, this is not a joke. If Joe Biden had said the things that Trump said, most Republicans would be calling for him to be put in an old age home.
I'm for us. I'm for us. You know how you spell us, right? You spell us, U.S. I just picked that up. Has anyone ever thought of that? I just picked that up. A couple of days I'm reading and it said us. And I said, if you think about it, us equals U.S. We had that all set to go, but then we had a little election that went astray. So we have to be careful. You got to get out there and you got to watch those voters. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes. You got to watch election night. It used to be election day.
Yeah. Weird. Weird how he just kind of came out and said it, huh? And he got his apologist already coming out. It's just what he says. And I'm getting sick of that crap too. I'm getting really sick of the just how much we let him get away with, and then the microscope that we're putting. Again, Kamala, the news. Oh my God, is she going to do an interview? When is she going to do an interview? You're giving them so much ammunition. You're giving the Republicans so much ammunition. What are you guys doing? And how stupid do you really think the electorate is? I mean, I understand, and they do kind of prove you right time and time again. Kind of sucks, but, my father used to say that the more people you have in a room, the lower that IQ goes. So, but he used to say it about teenagers specifically. So I'm not sure if that technically applies to adulthood, but I always kind of took that and ran with it because I'm like, yeah, you know what? The more people you do put in a room, the lower that IQ does drop. But let's continue.
Election night. Now it's election month. Now it's election period. Some of these things going for 53 days.
Dude, you were campaigning for 2 years. Shut up.
It's terrible. Viktor Orban. Did anyone ever hear of him? He's probably like one of the strongest leaders anywhere in the world. And he's the leader of, right? He's the leader of Turkey.
Yeah. Willie, first of all, I just picked that up. Us and U.S. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Don't worry about voting. Secondly. Third, Orban, of course, maybe he's never even visited Turkey. I don't know. Maybe the leader of Hungary has visited. But it's troubling to me. He calls Orban one of the strongest leaders and says it in a wonderful way. Orban, of course, is the person who shut down.
And I'm not the biggest Morning Joe guy, but
all of his opponents politically. He's tapped reporters' phones. He's destroyed independent news agencies. He's led phony tax investigations into reporters that were critical of him, chased them from the country, brags that he's an illiberal, that they have illiberal democracy and not Western-style democracy. And again, there's a guy who keeps thinking he's running against Barack Obama. Not doing well.
No, as Mika said, if that were Joe Biden, they'd be running wall-to-wall on certain networks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just going to say it right now that they were kind of playing into that too. MSNBC was totally doing it. Hell, even Morning Joe was starting to get on it. I do hate to admit when I'm wrong. We all do. But I don't know. This one doesn't hurt that bad. Yeah, I was wrong. Joe Biden should have dropped out. You know what? We were all worried we were just like, okay, losing. It was the same reason, because, like, just think of why the Democratic caucus was so gung-ho about putting him up and, like, keeping that incumbency. That's why. Like, you don't want to just lose the incumbency. Like, that's just asking. I mean, you're literally losing one of the biggest bullets in the chamber. Is that how that would work? Or the biggest guns in your arsenal. There we go. But yeah, I just kind of feel like we're being put into a place that is of absolute ridiculousness, specifically because of people that we just kind of lost track of. You know, after 2020, we didn't really think about this stuff, but this is the article that is giving me a little bit of hope. So, real quick, this series of state-level guidelines highlights the safeguards in place to ensure that poll workers cannot disrupt election processes. And what they have done is they've made sure that it's in Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Ohio, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin. Now, what my whole problem with this is Illinois is not in there. So I kind of feel like just because we are a blue state, we're kind of being forgotten about with this. So this could bite us in the ass. It really could. I mean, we already have some laws on the books for specifically protecting our elections. But again, if I personally have to challenge one guy, and this is what scares the crap out of me, and it should scare the crap out of every one of you, because this is not just a theoretical thing, this is something that could very well happen, is if you're a Democrat and you live in a modestly red area and you have a poll worker that is, you know, an election denialist, and they look at your ballot and decide that it doesn't count, how would that make you feel? If you're just okay with it, then fine. You really don't care about the freedom of voting. Which, as a teenager, oh man, I had the hottest takes where I was just, voting, man, what do you even get with your vote? It's only lesser of two evils, blah, 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 blah. No, because now that I've seen the actual substance behind what happens when you allow somebody to have three Supreme Court justices that don't care about precedent, which, again, here we are, 2024, where they're just like, nah, new Supreme Court, new rules, baby. And we're talking all new rules. We're talking like if the Supreme Court in the 1990s said something, screw them. We don't care. And then they sit there going, oh, they're going to pack the courts. And then they kind of pack the courts. Whatever. The thing is, honestly, Democrats deserve this. They do, because they got complacent. They don't play the game. And on top of it, this does kind of come down to, oh, are some of these the ones where it's like, oh, they want, you know, the allure of a Republican, oh my God, a Republican enemy. Sorry, man, I'm brain farting so hard today. I only had one cup of coffee, so kind of not at my best. Alrighty, but yeah, I just wanted to cover this because it really was pissing me off. I cannot overstate how much you need to be vigilant about this. And make sure you're, ow, that was my shoulder. Make sure that your signatures match when you get there, guys, because, yeah, I have a feeling that that's not just going to be a thing at my polling station. I have a feeling that that's, like, straight out of the playbook, where they were just kind of testing the waters to see that. But who knows? Maybe I got lucky and they just, like, took the mask off for a little bit. And they just were like, oh, yeah. And they totally didn't think that I'd be like, oh, wait a minute. Because again, I'm not even kidding. I have been checking my voter registry at least once a week, just making sure that my registry has not been purged. But I can tell you right now, because I check it, I do know that there are over 3,000 people just in my area alone who have been purged from the voter rolls that have no idea. They're going to go to the polling stations and be told that they can't vote. And they're going to be super confused as to why. I'm just hoping that there are enough people that, number one, have legal resources or are lawyers themselves that can muster up the courage to file a class action lawsuit against every one of these pieces of shit. I don't care about monetizing this video at all. I am so freaking pissed at the idea of some jackass taking my vote. I'm trumping at the mouth right now. I'm literally like frothing at the mouth. That's what it's called, by the way, now. Trumping at the mouth. Sorry. Your boy totally, Donald Duck, Daffy Duck, whatever the hell. Sylvester the cat. He sounded like a freaking Looney Tune, which we've been saying since the very beginning, but now he's just literally turned into a Looney Tune. So that's cool. Well, you know the deal. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're on the path to 1,000. So I will see you in the next one.